Hello dear students and welcome to the first session of the IELTS preparation course. Today we will be focusing on a mock exam and the different sections of the IELTS test. You will be learning how the listening, the speaking, the reading and writing are done in the IELTS testing system, and I will show you a complete mock exam. We will go through it together. We will not be doing the test today. We will just be focusing on the different parts of the test, and you will learn what the IELTS is about. For those of you that know a bit more about the IELTS and you have done mock exams before, you can skip this session and go to the next session, which is the actual preparation for the IELTS course. We will start this session with learning about the grading system of the IELTS, and we will go through a mock exam from the Cambridge series test. So you will learn what the IELTS exam is about. You will learn the different sections in the listening, in the reading, in the writing, and in the speaking, with all the details of timing and the different test types. So let's begin with an introduction to the IELTS testing system. So the IELTS testing system is the International English Language Testing System, as you can see, and it is recognized widely throughout the world. If you are planning to migrate to another country or at the same time study in another country, then IELTS would be a means of assessing or giving you a level grade for the university or the country that you're immigrating to, so they would know your level. That is why IELTS is international, and that is the reason that many countries use it to assess your language. So starting from the beginning, the IELTS is done in two different ways. The first way that the IELTS can be done, or the first format, is actually the IELTS general training system, which is used for candidates who want to migrate to an English-speaking country, and at the same time, they are wishing to train or study at a below degree level. So this means that you're not going to university, you're just going to do a course on a specific skill that you want to learn. But on the other hand, the academic testing system is used for students who want to study at an undergraduate or postgraduate level, and for those students which are seeking a professional registration at in a English-speaking country or at a university. So that is the main difference of the two types of IELTS, which we will work on both in these courses. Now, generally talking about what you will get in the IELTS testing system, as you can see here, the IELTS is done through 4 skills. So you will be tested on your listening, which is the first section of the exam. You will be tested on your reading, which is the second section of the exam. Then you will be tested on the writing, which is the third section of the exam. And the last but not least is the speaking section, which you will be tested sometimes before the exam and sometimes after the exam in a different session or on a different day. So what you need to know in this part is whether you are taking, if you remember the last part, whether you are taking the general training exam or the academic training exam, the section which is the same is the listening and the speaking. So the listening and speaking are the same for students who want to do the academic test or the general test. The difference is in the reading and in the writing. So as you can see, this section focuses on academic reading and writing, and this part is the general reading and writing. Now, basically, the question types that you will get are the same. You will have 3 sections, 40 questions and 60 minutes for reading, which is the same in academic. And you will have 2 tasks, which are 60 minutes for writing general. And for the academic writing, again, is 2 tasks, 60 minutes. So there's no difference in the structure. The only difference is in the information and in the context that you will have to do the exam. So the information, as you will see from the name, would be easier if you are doing the general exam, because it's general, right? And if you're doing the academic exam, it would be a bit harder, or in professional terms, it would be more academic. So this is the main difference that you will get in the test. The listening and the speaking are the same in both exams, academic and general. You will have 4 sections, 40 questions, and 30 minutes in your listening, plus 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet, which looks like this. So as you can see, this is an answer sheet for the listening. You have the 40 question types here, as you can see. You will have to write the answers in the answer sheet, and you will have 10 minutes to prepare after you finish the listening. 10 minutes to transfer your answers after you finish the listening. So it would be 40 minutes overall. Now the speaking has 3 sections, which takes about 11 to 14 minutes. And overall, the whole exam, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 11 to 15 minutes would be 2 hours and 4 minutes in total. All right, so this is the basics of the 4 skills that you will get in the exam. Now, if we go to the next part, we're not going to focus on each skill, and I'm not going to explain them one by one. We're just going to go very quickly to the grading system, and so you know what the grading system is, and then we will go on to the actual mock exam. So if you have a look at this part, you can see that the IELTS is graded from 0 to 9. So nobody would get a 0, because even if you participate in the exam, you will get 1 for attendance. So if you have no ability to use the language and you just use a few isolated words, you will get 1. This is a non-user of language. An intermittent user is somebody who cannot communicate very well, so no real communication is possible. You have a very limited range of language. Grade 3 would be extremely limited user, so you will understand general information, but you cannot communicate very well, you cannot write very well. Number 4 would be a limited user, so somebody who can use the basic language and you are familiar with a limited number of situations. For example, you can talk about maybe your job in a couple of sentences. You can talk about what you do every day. So normal situations. You have a lot of problems in understanding the expressions, which are more professional and more analytical. So you cannot use complex language. Number 5 is a modest user, somebody who is like in the middle. We would say somebody which is a pre-intermediate or a low intermediate student would get a grade 5. Grade 6 is a competent user, which you have a general good and effective command of language. You have some inaccuracies, maybe some grammatical mistakes, and you're not familiar with all the situations to talk about in the IELTS test, but you are a competent user. So if you are a high intermediate student or a good intermediate student, you will get a grade 6. If you are a good user, it means you are 70% there, and you will get a generally a good score, which 7 is a pretty good score for whatever university you're applying for, or for immigration. Usually you don't need more than 7. So if you get a 7 score, you can almost do anything with your IELTS score. For those who want to immigrate, a band for 5 to 6 is usually suitable. and it is somehow accepted for those of you that need to immigrate or you need a general IELTS. All right, number 8 is a very good user, which number 8 usually language teachers get it band 8, and number 9 are teachers which are native teachers. It means they have lived in English speaking countries and they have studied English at university. They will generally get 9. So this is the band scores that you have in the IELTS test, and this is how you will be scored in the test. All right, so let's go to the first part of our mock exam. Now, starting with the listening, I will just give you a general overview of the test and what the test is about. So you can see listening part 1 here. In the listening section 1, you will hear a listening, as you can see here. So I will click on the listening. So you will get a listening, and at the same time, you will get some questions. Now, it's always a good idea to read the questions before you listen, because you will get an idea of what you need in the answers. So we have topics like hiring a public room. We have explanations like section 1, complete the notes, and you have the number of words that you're allowed to use. For example, for this test, you can only use 1 word or 1 number. So that means if you use 2 words, or if you use 2 numbers in this section, for example, 102, then the answer would be eliminated straight away. Now, as you can see, the questions go on. We have different types of information that you need to listen for and write this information and then transfer it, if you remember, to the answer sheet. So as you can see here, we have the room and cost, before the event, during the event, questions 1 to 7. Now, if you keep going, you can see questions 8, 9, and 10, which is about after the event. So section 1 will be divided into 2 parts, which usually the first part is 6 to 7 questions, and the second part is 3 or 4 questions. So this is just my online teaching platform, which I have designed for students. They can just write the answers here for any of the questions. For example, for question 1, the something room seats 100, maybe the main room or whatever the answer is. So they just write the answer here. And after the answer is, after the listening is over, so they can actually transfer the answers to the answer sheet. So this is my online teaching platform. If any of you, dear students, need to study the courses with me, please leave a comment and I will get back to you. And I will set a session for you guys and give you guidance throughout the different parts of the exam, in the mock exam. So as you can see, we are continuing to listening part 2. In section 2, we have a different type of question. Again, we have the question, topic, and explanation, as you can see. So here we can again write only 1 word in the answer. If you write more than 1, the answer would be wrong. So the topic, you can see Fidi Working Heritage Farm. It's about a farm. You listen again to the second listening and you answer questions. All right. Going on, you can see another type of question, which is questions 15 to 20. In this section, you will to complete the different parts of a map. Now, this is a tricky question for some students, but with practice, you can do great in this exam. And I will explain more during the practice in the classes about this type of test. So as you can see, again, you have a question, but in this question, you must label the map. So here we have a map which has different parts. As you can see, we need to find a scarecrow, we need to find the maze, we need to find a cafe, a black barn, covered picnic area, and we need to find the Fiddy house. So these are labeled as different letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, and you will need to write the letter next to the numbers that is provided. For example, number 15, which is the scarecrow, where is the scarecrow? So you listen and you write the different letters in front of the words that you need. All right, so this would be questions 15 to 20. And as you can see, again, the students can write the answers here. For example, the scarecrow is letter, for example, C. And then you can transfer the answers into the sheet. So listening part 3, as you can see, becomes more analytical and multiple choice. Again, you play the listening, and before you listen, you read the different options that you have for each question. Then you start listening. So questions 21 to 25 are in this section, 26, 27, 28 to 30. So sometimes it's 5 questions, 6 questions, 10 questions in 2 sections or 1 section. So here we have all of them, 10 questions in 1 section. Now, section 4 is the most difficult section for students because it gets more difficult as you go through the sections 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you're in section 1, the information is usually easier to understand. In section 4, the information is a bit more difficult. So as you can see here, the topic is a scientific topic, ocean biodiversity, the different types of life. Bio means life, and diversity means difference. So the different types of life forms that we have in the oceans are described in this section, ocean biodiversity. Now, as you can see, section 4 are questions 31 throughout 40. So you will need to answer 10 questions in this section. All right, so that somehow sums it up for the first section that we have, which was listening. As you can see, 40 questions. Now, continuing to the reading. The reading starts with, again, a paragraph sometimes, a reading text, or sometimes the question comes at the beginning. So as you can see, again, we have section 1, questions 1 to 14 are done here. We have a topic, is your child at school? So you read the questions first to see what kind of question you need to answer. There's true, false, not given. And then you come back to the text and you have some techniques to answer the question, which we will fully work on in the classes. So as you can see, questions here, we have 1 to 5 again. And the next text, we have questions 6 to 14. And then we have section 2 of the reading, which are, here we can see you can write 3 words, no more than 3 words for each answer. So you write your answer about GZJ travel recruitment process. So they are recruiting some people, they are giving some people some jobs. You need to read the text and answer the questions which we have here. So this is the text, GZJ travel recruitment information. All right, so as we continue, you can see that this is a diagram or flowchart kind of question, which you have to read the text and answer. Then we have the third text, which is Hilton Laboratory, Health and Safety in the Workplace. Questions 22 to 27 are done here. Then you have questions 28 to 34, which are matching in heading. You have to match these heading topics to the paragraphs. So this one is a tricky question for many students, but again, with practice, you can do perfectly in this part. And as you can see at the end, we have questions 35 to 37 and 38 to 43 multiple choice questions, which we will do fully during the class. Now, the writing, as you can see, this is a task 1 writing for the general exam. So you spent 20 minutes on this. You recently received a letter from a friend asking for advice about whether to go to college or to try to get a job. You think this person should get a job. So now you should write a letter to this friend, and in your letter, say why you think that this person would not enjoy going to college. Explain why you think getting a job is a good idea for this person, and suggest the types of jobs that would be suitable for your friend. So this is what you have to write. So we will work on the writing techniques in the writing sessions. And as we go on, you can see that, well, this is again my online platform. The students can write here, and I will correct the writings and give them feedback on the writing. So the writing task 2 is a 40-minute writing. You can write about an topic which is an essay type. So you can see employers sometimes ask people blah, blah, blah. So you read the text, you answer the writing, you write the writing here, and it should be 250 words. Writing 1 is 150 words. All right, so let's go to the last part, which is the speaking. Now, the speaking has 3 sections. Section 1, part 1, as you can see here. In part 1, the examiner asks you general information about yourself. For example, your home, your work, studies, and other familiar topics like food, what you do every day, your education, and so on. And then they will give you a general topic, which is food. In this question is food or cooking or education or traveling or whatever. They will ask you some questions about this topic. For example, what sort of food do you like eating? Who normally does the cooking in your home? Do you watch cookery programs? And in general, do you prefer eating out or eating at home? So again, this is just the practice section for my classes. In the exam, you do not have this part. I ask my students to write a short paragraph that they're going to speak, so I could assess their grammar and tell them what mistakes they have in the grammar, vocabulary, and other sections, and they record their speaking and send it back to me. So this is section 2. As you can see, in section 2, we have a topic card which you will receive, and as you can see, this is a sample of a topic card. You have to describe a house or apartment that someone you know lives in this house or apartment. So this is a descriptive question. You have to describe a house, physical object. So the 3 parts are: whose house is this? Where is the house? So who, where, and what this house looks like inside. So this is all description. You have to describe, describe, describe. So, and for the conclusion, you have to explain what you like or dislike about this person's house or apartment. So the question has part 1, part 2, whose house, part 3, where, part 4, what, and part 5 is the conclusion. You should say why you like or dislike this person's house. So you can talk about your parents' house, your grandparents' house. So this is up to you, which we will work more in the classes. Now, part 3 is connected to part 2, but the questions are more difficult and more analytical. So as you can see, what kind of homes are most popular in section 2, we had describing a house. In section 3, you talk about what are the most popular types of homes in your country. What do you think are the advantages of living in a house or an apartment? So you have to describe the advantages and disadvantages. So in section 3, the questions become more analytical. What I mean by analytical is it means you must analyze the questions. You must explain the questions in more detail. You must give more information. So this is the difference of section 1, section 2, and section 3. So as you go, you can see here, these are different questions. The examiner can choose to ask you 2 questions, 3 questions, 4 questions, 6 questions, or whatever, until he or she understands your level and can give you a general score in the speaking. So everybody, that is the main part for the mock exam. Now, so a quick overview of what we talked about today. Today we talked about the different types of questions that we have in the exam, the time of the exam, the number of questions that we have, the sections for each skill: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. We also talked about the general and academic exam of the IELTS, and we gave a quick introduction of the grades of IELTS, which are from 1 to 9, from non-user of English, not a good level, and 9, which is a perfect level and an expert user of English. Then we explained each part, which are the listening, the reading, the writing, as you can see, and the speaking. All right, stay with me, everybody. Next session, we will talk more about starting our first session. We will start with listening, and I will go through each skill one by one, lesson by lesson, and we will start working in class for next session. So stay with me and keep up to date. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and at the same time hit the bell, so as soon as I post a lesson, you can come and study with me. So if you have any questions or any comments, please don't forget to leave a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So see you soon, and bye for now.